Hi, my name is Rebecca Small, and I am a junior at Oklahoma City University, and I am studying youth ministry in Spanish, and I'm looking to be a summer 2020 intern with Next Step Ministries. And today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about a passage that I've really been diving into a lot lately, and it's been pretty relatable, I feel like, to me and a lot of the places that I've been in my spiritual walk lately, and I feel like it's also just really relatable to young people in general. It's just an idea that I feel like a lot of people who are younger in the church sometimes feel, and it's something that I feel like is worth exploring and talking about. So it comes from the book of John, the Gospel of John, and it comes from chapter 6. And if you're not familiar, it's the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. Now, this is a really cool story because it's one of the few stories that is included in each of the 4 Gospels. So obviously, it's seen as pretty important to be included and retold 4 times. So I feel like it has a lot of truth to it. But the part of the story that we're going to focus on is something that I feel like it's overlooked a little bit more. It's a more minor detail that doesn't get explored as often, but I feel like this detail just personally really speaks to me a lot. So, in the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000, basically, Jesus is on this mountain and there's 5,000 approximately people hanging out in this mountain, sitting there and listening to Jesus, and they've been there all day, sitting there and listening to him. And so what happens when you're hanging out on a mountain all day? People start to get hangry. These people have been sitting here and they're on a mountain in a remote location, and most of them probably didn't bring any food, and they get to this conclusion once everyone is starting to get a little hangry, and the disciples are like, Jesus, what do? We don't have food to feed all these people, and there's about to be an uproar because these people need food. And who was the one person that for some reason happened to bring 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish? A little boy. It doesn't really say how old he is or anything, just a little boy, but the disciples find him, and he has this small amount of food, and they're like, well, this is not a lot, obviously, not enough to feed 5,000 people, let alone 5 of us. So what do we do? But this is what we have. And Jesus takes that little meal and multiplies it, eventually where they're able to not just feed the 5,000 people on this mountain, but feed them to full capacity. They have leftovers. They are collecting baskets full of food once everyone has been fed. That's crazy. That's a miracle right there. 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish became enough to feed 5,000 people. Now, why do I think this detail is so cool that it came from this little boy? Because he probably had no idea that God is going to use him in that way. The disciples probably found him and were like, hey, you have something that we need, let's use it. And he probably didn't feel like his gift was all that useful. Sure, he had food, something that people needed, but he felt like he wasn't quite, capable maybe of feeding 5,000 people with his small meal, but he came forward willing anyway, with the small amount that he did have, with the small gift that he was uniquely given. Like, nobody else thought to bring food, and for some reason he did. He was the one person who was able to provide that necessity to that large group of people, and God used that small gift that he had to multiply and truly impact and fulfill the lives of so many other people. He had a huge impact on those 5,000 people. What would they have done if they didn't have food? I don't know what would happen, because we didn't come to that conclusion. Jesus fixed it with the little boy. But it's a really cool concept to just think about the fact that we are all bearers of something unique. We all have that special gift that sometimes feels not super important for some reason. We feel like our gift is less than or not worthy of really being useful or something like that. But that gift is given to us for a specific reason. That boy was placed in that mountain for a specific reason, to share that gift of food and bless so many people. And his willingness to come forward with that is an example that we can all follow. We all have our special, unique gift. No matter how big or how small it is, God will use that gift if only we are courageous enough to come forward with that gift and allow God to use that gift to bless the kingdom. And that's what we're called to do, to be those courageous, bold people for God, and to come forward with our unique gifts that aren't supposed to be like everyone else's. We are supposed to be unique and special in God's eyes, and those gifts will be used to benefit so many people. So I hope that you remember that today, that when you feel like you do have something to offer, no matter how small it may be, come forward with this much willingness and this much of a gift, and God will impact thousands. Thank you.